welcome to the Papastache channels. And I say channels because depending on which one you're at, there's another one over there. There's more. There's a few, but there's two main ones, Papastache Pop and Papastache 102. Please, whatever one you're on, check the other one out if you haven't already. Between both, there's like 500 and something videos on songs and how-tos and demos and just a complete smattering of guitar madness. And click the link below if you want to get better at strumming. This is part 2. I did a lesson before for those awesome beginner slash, beginning intermediate, or, just tightening up guitar strummers out there. The video's not on YouTube, so check that out. That's 101 fundamentals, and then you can apply it in these two lessons. The previous lesson's simple. This one's going to be a little bit more strumming and picking, so check them both out. You guys are awesome. Let's get to this. Okay, so we're going to keep it simple. Like I said in the lesson before, we used the most popular chord progression ever, which is G, C, D. Cannot go wrong there. And if you want to be like extra moody and awesome, throw an E minor in there somewhere. Or, before I talked about borrowing some of the notes of another chord, like D, for instance. We have all those cool notes. So when we're doing these chords, especially the C add 9, borrowing some of those notes, sounds freaking awesome. If you take an E minor chord and combine it with the bottom notes of that D chord. I have no idea what that makes that chord, but awesome. Okay, so now the rhythm. It's more like a, So if, you can picture, grassy rolling hills, beautiful sky, some amazingly beautiful woman singing. It doesn't have to be beautiful. Women are awesome, period. But, in the video on TV, it'd be some, whatever. Or, if you're a lady out there, some handsome dude or whatever, singing about how you're the one. Okay, so that's kind of where we're going. Easy listening, awesome, fun, porch music. Now, the other one was a simple introduction to strumming, like... Right, we talked about using these kind of riffs as transitions to the next chord. Well, what we can do now that we've got the strumming down, we can get a little bit more intricate and do some picked runs. So we got... Right, so now we're combining the two together. Right, so I'm hammering on like we did in the previous lesson. And then I'm going to put some single notes with that. So it's an open A, hammer onto the second fret, and then D and G. And then I'm going to hammer on from the second fret to the third fret and follow it with the same two open strings. Right, so now we got... Now the second time around, just to be different so it's not super repetitive, although we can create a pattern out of it, right, but keep it exciting by doing something different. Right, we'll just... and take the place of the other two notes that we were hitting open, and we'll just strum it. could be a place, right? If it's in a song, oftentimes, you know, if you're talking record companies and stuff, 40 seconds, you better be into total chorus pandemonium. Oh, you ain't getting a deal. So if that's the case, it'll be a couple revolutions, 2 to 4 revolutions of this pattern. Then maybe we would go into a D chord. Back to our C chord, and then of course you gotta hit the notes. There we go. Maybe into our chorus. So the intro could be our chorus, verse, everything. Just repeat it over and over again and throw in a new chord every once in a while to make it sound different. Now on the D, you know, you can do all sorts of things. You can do the typical sus4, D, sus2, works great. Now, if we're going to do that, oftentimes those hits, those stabs where you hear the, or on upstrokes, and then come back to our C or C add 9. Maybe throw it like one of the, I was talking about earlier, throw one of the notes from that D chord in there as well. Or, you know, you can get fancy. Right? Utilize the D chord. We talked about hammering on to that note in the previous lesson. You can also hammer on and pull off and come back to that G. And the cool thing about the G is it's such a dominant sound, right? Because it's basically in the key of G, that anytime you can pull off and hammer on to that note, it's going to sound great. Going to any of these chords because the G's in those chords. Right, so you can, use, and right here, right, you can use that in the G chord too. So what we're trying to do is just use some of the notes that would basically be in the G major scale, or just think of it as notes within the chords. If you're seeing these notes and these chords, they're all legal, right? So we're taking, that progression and we're just spicing it up. Right? So we go. Right, so I'm just, I'm improvising right now, so, some flubs here and there. Right, there we go. Right. You can repeat some of that stuff in the C add 9 chord as well. So, just, don't make it too complicated, right? The more complicated, the more hard it is to play, as I just demonstrated. Or to pull off clean and beautiful. But it really adds a lot to the music. That, that being said, if you can do a simple, cool, or it really adds a new kind of feel to it that's just really cool. So experiment with that. It doesn't have to be perfect. One of the things I really want to encourage you is, even for me, all the time. You know, I make mistakes all the time, and I do it on video too. And the reason I keep it is because we're all on this journey together. We're all having fun. You've got to let go of being perfect. You know, strive to be as good as you can be. But a lot of times when you go for it and you make a mistake, you'll stumble upon something you might never have tried if you couldn't let go enough to do it. So music's all about pushing the envelope, pushing yourself, having fun. Don't be afraid to fall on your face. You know, if you're playing out live, do 90% of the, and if you're an adult, 90% of the people are either on their iPhone, hammered at a bar, or trying to pick up the guy or the girl on the other side. So they're not going to know. But if you're going for it and they're like, dude, that guy or man, that girl is going for it, they are amazing. You can suck them in, which is great. And just people always ask me this, so I'm just going to tell you: the guitar is a Martin 0018, and no, I'm not rich, and I cannot normally afford a guitar like this. But my friend who sold it to me must have been smoking crack, because he sold it so cheap. Everybody always asks whenever I do an acoustic video, so there you have it. Your guys are awesome. Yes! Again, don't forget the link below. That video is nowhere to be found on YouTube. But also, I want to take this time to really say thank you. I totally appreciate you guys. There's freaking so many of you now, and it's just growing like crazy. I think there's like 125,000 combined total. And what would be so awesome and such a way for me to know that you're super stoked and you appreciate it, if you don't mind, please spread it everywhere. So it's like Facebook and Twitter, and I don't know Twitter, but you know, I don't know. When you say share down at the bottom and there's 50 of those things you can click on, all of those. And I would be I already am. I mean, if you could be more stoked to like stoked est, that's where it would take me. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much for joining me here at papastache pop and 102. Catch you next time.